Hi, my name is Jack and I'm 30 years old. I work as a photographer. I have a deep passion for exploring and capturing the beauty of the world through my camera lens. Whether it's vibrant landscapes or candid moments, I strive to tell stories through my photographs. Adventure and discovery are my driving forces, and I'm constantly seeking new experiences and hidden treasures in the places I visit. I was driving through the dense, eerie woods, feeling increasingly lost and alone. I had taken a wrong turn on the way to my secluded cabin and had been driving for what seemed like an eternity, desperately trying to find my way back. As I rounded a sharp bend in the road, my weary eyes caught sight of something peculiar in the distance. There, partially hidden amidst the gnarled trees and tangled undergrowth, stood a car, abandoned and forgotten, its once shiny exterior now tarnished and overgrown with twisting vines. A shiver ran down my spine and my heart began to race as I approached the peculiar scene. The air around the car was thick with an otherworldly mist swirling and curling like ghostly tendrils. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was profoundly amiss. With cautious steps, I moved closer, the echo of my own footsteps mingling with the hushed whispers of the forest. The car loomed before me, an enigmatic enigma in this desolate place. To my relief and unease, it was devoid of any human presence. The seats were empty, the interior silent and still. But the sense of being watched grew stronger, an indescribable weight settling upon my shoulders. I spun around expecting to find an observer lurking among the shadows. Yet there was nothing. Only the rustling of leaves and the distant murmur of nature reached my ears. An unsettling chill settled within me, as if unseen eyes bore into my very being. Struggling to steady my racing thoughts, I pushed forward, propelled by a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. As I tried to start the abandoned car, hope and desperation entwined within me. But fate had different plans. The engine sputtered weakly, refusing to come alive, mocking my attempts to escape this eerie predicament. I was trapped, my heart sinking deeper into despair. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows that danced upon the forest floor. The mist, once distant and ethereal, closed in around me like a sinister embrace. It swirled and snaked, a manifestation of some malevolent force drawing near, suffocating the last remnants of daylight. Unearthly whispers filled the air, an unsettling chorus of voices that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the woods. Branches creaked and snapped under unseen weight, the nocturnal creatures retreating into the sanctuary of darkness. In a feeble attempt to escape the encroaching nightmare, I summoned every ounce of strength and forced my legs into action. But they rebelled against my command, laden with an inexplicable heaviness. My steps became labored, each movement a struggle against an invisible force determined to hold me captive. Tripping on an errant route, I stumbled and fell, a cry of frustration and fear escaping my lips. I glanced up from the forest floor, my eyes wide with terror, and that's when I saw her. The figure standing over me. She was a woman, her tattered garments hanging loosely from her frail frame. Her hair, a tangled mass of wild strands, framed a face marked by hardship and suffering. Her sunken eyes, filled with a desperate hunger, met mine with an intensity that pierced my very soul. I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound emerged. Paralyzed by an otherworldly force, I could only watch as the woman lunged toward me, her movements both swift and unhinged. A searing pain shot through my body as her hands clutched at my trembling form. I fought with every ounce of strength, flailing and thrashing against her relentless grip. Yet, she possessed an otherworldly strength that belied her emaciated frame. Her grip tightened around me, her ragged nails digging into my flesh as if she were draining the life force from my very being. Desperation flooded through me as I realized that escape was futile. I could feel the mist thickening around us, its tendrils curling and coiling like sinister serpents. The once familiar woods now seemed transformed into a nightmarish realm where the rules of reality no longer applied. With each passing moment, I felt my energy waning, my resistance dwindling. The woman's wild eyes bore into mine, and I could sense a malevolent hunger emanating from her very core. She seemed like a specter of the woods, a lost soul trapped in a perpetual cycle of torment. As I struggled to break free, the woman's grip only tightened. Her lips curled into a grotesque smile, revealing rows of sharp yellow teeth. I could almost taste the decay in the air as her putrid breath mingled with mine. The forest itself seemed to join in her assault. The once silent woods now echoed with haunting whispers, the voices of the lost and tormented. The trees trembled with an otherworldly presence, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, as if beckoning me towards my inevitable fate. But I refused to succumb without a fight. With a surge of adrenaline, I summoned one final burst of strength. I pushed against the woman's grasp, feeling the energy of determination coursing through me. In my desperation to break free, I managed to create some distance between us. Her grip faltered for a moment, providing me with a precious opportunity to escape. I swiftly seized the moment and broke free, leaving her momentarily stunned in my wake. Gasping for air, I stumbled backward, my gaze darting frantically in search of an escape route. The mist seemed to writhe with anger, as if the very fabric of the woods resented my defiance. The whispers grew louder, their cacophony of despair and madness threatening to overwhelm me. Driven by sheer instinct, I began to run. Each step felt like an eternity as I navigated the treacherous terrain, my heart pounding in my chest. The forest seemed to conspire against me, with roots and branches reaching out to ensnare my fleeing form. Yet I pressed on, propelled by a primal survival instinct. Branches scraped against my skin, leaving trails of stinging pain in their wake. Thorny tendrils grasped at my clothes, threatening to tear me apart. But I pushed through, fueled by a desperate determination to escape this cursed place. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of frantic flight, I burst through the tree line and stumbled onto a narrow dirt road. The mist dissipated behind me, as if its influence couldn't extend beyond the boundary of the woods. I collapsed onto the road, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. The distant glow of civilization flickered like a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. Summoning the last vestiges of strength, I crawled towards the road, leaving behind the haunting woods and the tormented figure that had tried to claim my life. As I reached the edge of the road, a passing car screeched to a halt, its headlights illuminating my disheveled form. The driver, a kind stranger, rushed to my aid, offering words of reassurance and safety. I tried to convey the horrors I'd experienced, the woman in the woods, and the malevolent mist that threatened to consume me. But my voice faltered, my words failing to capture the true essence of the nightmare that had unfolded.